Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another Mrdoctorwhofan13's video, and today is once again my first impressions on Doctor Who Series 8, Episode 7, Kill the Moon, written by Peter Harness and directed by Paul Wilmshurst. Now, this episode, going into it, I originally didn't know what to expect because Peter Harness is a new writer, but you know what? I am always excited to see new writers because they usually turn out to be good. From what I remember, there were only 2 writers who had terrible first scripts, and those are Steve Thompson, The Curse of the Black Spot, and Matthew Graham with Fear Her. Now, and obviously Steve Thompson went on to write Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS, but slightly redeemed himself with Time Heist with Stephen Moffat, and Matthew Graham went on to write Rebel Flesh and the Almost People. Right, okay. With that out of the way, that's for a totally different video. But so Peter Harness. I remember the only thing I really know him from is that he wrote the play script for it, which was made into a film starring Michael Caine and David Morrissey, called Is Anybody There? Is There Anybody There? And I've seen that film, well, I've seen the ending to it at least, and I thought it was quite good from what I saw. So I was optimistic about Kill the Moon going into it. And so when the episode finished, I thought that it was... no, I'm just kidding. It was pretty good. Not great. Not one of the standouts of Series 8. It's not as good as, I'd say it's slightly on par with Deep Breath. Not as good as Time Heist or Into the Dalek. But better than the Caretaker, Robot of Sherwood, and Listen. So, yeah. Kill the Moon. Why did I like this episode? Well, the best aspects without a doubt, I'll just get those out of the way right now. Peter Capaldi and Jenna Coleman as the Doctor and Clara. Now, I know I'm probably jumping the gun here, but that ending, if that would have been Clara's exit, it's the best part of the episode, and that line, I'll smack you so hard you'll regenerate. That's probably the funniest line in Doctor Who history, and that's saying something. But yeah. So, I thought Peter Harness did a pretty good job with this script. Obviously, because it was his first script, there were a lot of references to previous story, and a lot of subtle ones as well. But I'm convinced that the line 1, 2, 3 into the TARDIS is a throwback to Logopolis. I am convinced that that's a throwback to Logopolis because there's at the end of Part 3 it says to Adric and Tegan 1, 2, 3 into the TARDIS. So yeah. So yeah, I really liked the way that the Doctor and Clara were in here. Clara, her character was just phenomenal. She's probably the best she's been so far in this series. And Capaldi's Doctor, I'm not sure if his performance here, or the way it was written here, was as good as his performance in Time Heist, because I think that's his best performance of his entire tenure so far. But I think that his performance in Kill the Moon was at least on par with his performance in Time Heist, because he was brilliant here as a Doctor. Played by Peter Capaldi, obviously. Peter Capaldi was magnificent as a Doctor, and I just really liked it. Let's think of an example. Obviously, there's that argument at the end. But, I thought it was quite interesting how the spiders, it were great CGI great effects cinematography on the moon and the spiders and everything, but I thought it was interesting how, like, you know, bacteria killed them at first, but it only killed certain ones, and later they became immune to bacteria. So, sorry. Well, they. Let me rephrase. How, like, they. I thought it was interesting how first because they were bacteria, they were able to be killed by, you know, spray and stuff like that, but later on they were immune to it. I found that really interesting and a really good piece of writing. And, sorry, it's night, and you know, I'm still recording this as I said, I recorded my first impressions on the Caretaker. But okay, my problems with the episode. The supporting cast were awful. I mean, granted, the actors were actually trying with what they had, but this is probably the worst bunch of supporting characters I have seen since Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS. Two of them weren't really there, you know, they died, and I just never noticed them go, to be honest. Really bland as hell. And the woman who lived, she was an unlikable bitch. I hated her character. Seriously, she was so selfish, and she didn't care at all for the baby, you know, kicking inside the moon. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what Peter Harness was on when he was writing it, but I don't know. I want some of it. But yeah. So I didn't like her. Also, you know, the idea of Earth being able to decide whether the creature lives or dies. I thought it was incredibly unrealistic that, you know, all of the lights on one end of the Earth went out. But, you know, bar that, it was... It was a great idea letting Earth decide, but in the end it didn't matter because the Doctor saved the planet. Because the Doctor let the creature live, and Clara aborted. I mean, works in a sense because, you know, at least that argument at the end, which was massively well done. But I don't know. I mean, the argument at the end should pretty well make up for it. And also, you know, Danny Pink appears at the end and is just basically gives Clara some advice, and you know what? It's great advice, you know, I will continue to like this character, and Samuel Anderson gives a good performance for his 2 minutes that he has on the screen. So, yeah. It was interesting to see. It was interesting to see Samuel Anderson as Danny Pink at the end of the episode. You know, just advise Clara what to do. Great boyfriend. But yeah, so I'm not really sure about the ending. You know, deciding and everything like that. There should have been at least someone who was pissed off about it. About, you know, the moon getting too low. Especially if, you know, the entire planet voted to kill it, to kill the moon. Yes, he said it. But yeah, so not really much else I can say about Kill the Moon. Well, there probably is, like there was the Caretaker, like the ending like with Missy and all that. It was interesting to see, you know, what the ending take place in heaven. So yeah, but I don't know. So overall, Kill the Moon was pretty good. It was pretty good. But it wasn't a masterpiece. It's not on par with Into the Dalek, A Time Heist. On par with Deep Breath, though. It was pretty good. So, out of 10, I'd give it 7. 7 out of 10. Just scrapes that there. Like, the Caretaker just scraped a 6. So, yeah, that's going to be that for now. This is Mrdoctorwhofan13's saying word out. I will see you next week for Mummy on the Orient Express, which looks quite good. Written by Jamie Matheson and directed by Paul Wilmshurst. Got to mention, direction by Paul Wilmshurst in Kill the Moon was brilliant. You know, the shots on the moon and everything, brilliant CGI in it. So, in a nutshell, Paul Wilmshurst is a great director. And I can't wait to see how his direction pans out in Mummy on the Orient Express, and he's also retained for the 2014 Christmas special. So that's going to be that for now. This is Mrdoctorwhofan13's saying word out.